and welcome back to another episode of the Discipline Therapy Podcast. We're back. A few weeks off. Sometimes you gotta take a break from the social media. People that do this every day, I commend them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of like an empath. I kind of absorb everything, so I know I need a break to recharge and gather. As I'm putting myself out there. I don't know about you, but
No,
I'll speak for
definitely.
myself. Putting myself out there, I'm sharing my
Mm-hmm.
energy with people. So I'm also absorbing, even if it is virtual.
Mm-hmm.
So same thing too. Like I take a break from social media. Um,
Yeah, you have
it's
to.
too much that you absorb every
Yeah.
day. So it's kind of like this. This is like a workout,
Mm-hmm.
mental workout, verbal exercise. Um, so it kind of gets to that point where it does become overwhelming or overloading,
Mm-hmm.
so you need to
Like recharge, right?
recharge,
Mm-hmm.
recuperate. Yeah, I'm not gonna use this. We'll just go off you. But before we get into anything else, they know they're fiends. That's why they're back. And they're fiends because they know what that means. We're serving them the dose weekly of discipline therapy where not everything is completely free, as we're also on Patreon for a plethora of exclusive content for you to see. Just choose a tier. But what is free is it's judgment free, sucker free, censor free, sensitive free, and plenty of liberty. God and the ancient ancestors are great, and that means everything else is straight. So go grab your wine, popcorn, or my favorite, roll a blunt. But make sure the children are in bed. Why? Because we have that adult conversation, sometimes vulgar ones,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely stimulating. Prepare your minds to be fed. Light one up, inhale life, and exhale strife. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, you are tuned in to, just in case you forgot, the Discipline Therapy Podcast.
We're
We're
back.
back. Um,
I'm ready.
yeah,
I'm like, now,
I
now.
got I got time. I kind of just took my time with that.
I know, I like
We
it.
we got time today. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, do this or go ahead with continue with the. I'm just gonna do this because this is what we do. We clear the energy.
Yeah, do that.
Okay.
Especially today, it's a specific, special topic.
Yes,
You know. So,
definitely. Ooh.
oh man, we're gonna get into it.
Yep, I took notes and everything.
Cool, cool. Okay. First and foremost, before we get into anything else, we just wanna, we're really excited to get into it, but we got time. So, first and foremost, let's shout out Center Stage Music Studio. Show is sponsored by, once again, Joe, Belmore, New York, Long Island. And then couple of things, EL Discipline books, links are in the description. Pick one of 7 different genres. Also, the online store, discipline therapy dot launchcart dot store/shop. All the links are in the description. Also, to become a Patreon member, uh, all exclusive content. Where I'm doing what you're doing because I want to get into it. So I'm rushing it. All exclusive content, bloopers, behind the scenes, my erotica posts and writings, my shows that I do by myself, discipline therapy talk, um, BDSM content and education. So I want to be specific about the content. I do have like how to properly tie a woman's wrists, but I don't have no fucking on there. So I just want to make that perfectly clear. This ain't no OnlyFans with adult content. So you mainly see, or mostly hear BDSM education. I am that master in that lifestyle. So you'll see that they're no longer on YouTube. That was done in 2022 or 2023. All right. So, you have that. You got audio books on there. You got life coach package on there. Um, yeah, different tiers.
Mm-hmm.
Just go through it. There's something for everybody. All right, so let's go.
All right, we are in season 18. What? That's crazy. And tonight's season premiere, episode 188, is spiritual discernment. Ooh, that was the people hollering for us. All right, so spiritual discernment. You want to say something about that before I?
First of all, because we pride ourselves in education, let's break down both, right? So discernment, if people don't know what it is, because we have different people, new subscribers every time, following us. Don't worry, we'll be your Google. You don't have to go to your phone. You could still stay locked in. Um, Discernment is part of good judge of character. It's part of judgment. It's
Mm-hmm.
the frontal lobe in our brain that, the cognitive part that we use, which is also part of like memory and, uh, you know, um, discernment. No,
It's like,
memory and focus, understanding and intuition is part of that as well. So I'm kind of like jumping because that is going into the spiritual part. So it's like spiritual discernment, intuitive judgment. That's what I say. I'm not saying like Google is what it is.
mm-hmm.
Like Google will say what I said like few seconds ago, about what it is. But that's what I'm breaking it down in layman's terms. So now when we look at spiritual is like part of the body, it's cosmic, divine, it could be godly, not so much religion, ancestral. So when we put it together,
Ethereal.
spiritual discernment,
Mm-hmm.
we use that. It's not something that we are. We use it.
So it's
Okay.
like a tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
So.
that. With that, those definitions. And I don't think many people have spirit. Well, first of all, I don't think many people have discernment. Period, for regular stuff. So I definitely don't think that many people have spiritual discernment. I think most people have a very like ego based relationship with their God, their Lord, whoever they
Mm-hmm.
worship. And they only pray in their time of need. And that's completely like normal. You know what I mean? That's um, a lot of people do that because they don't have spiritual discernment. Um, but they don't understand that the thing is, even when you're in a good place, you should pray just to give thanks, just to say I appreciate everything that I have because maybe somebody doesn't have half of what I have. And I think you should always be grateful. You know, when you have, if you can take time out because you want to pray for your God to help you, then you should take time out and thank him or her or
Mm.
whatever you believe in. And that goes a long way.
So when I look at spiritual discernment, right, I do agree with you in one part where you said most people don't have it. I think everyone has intuition. They just don't use it or pay attention to it. I think spiritual discernment, you need to get to a certain level to have that. To be people are unaware of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it could be divine assistance. It could be like I believe it's linked with intuition. I believe intuition comes from a higher power. So spiritual discernment, it's mind, body, and soul.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I believe it is. So you will feel like the gut feeling,
Mm-hmm.
the headache quickly. You will feel like you're conscious, like something told me I should have done that. Like
Or like
why didn't I pay
goosebumps.
attention to it? Goosebumps, chills, stuff
Mm-hmm.
of that nature. But to be able to use this in your day to day, in different endeavors, relationships, that's where I want to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
Business. So I think that when you have great spiritual discernment skills, I said this in the last show, and I was waiting for this. I'm very happy we're finally here. Um, I said this in the last show about I believe they're also linked with spiritual intelligence. So I think spiritual discernment and spiritual intelligence correlate with one another.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's that conscious,
Yeah.
what maybe New Age want to say woke. And then you use that in every endeavor with every situation, business, jobs, careers, your path, friendships, people you have in your circle, relationships, as well. So those are friendships as well. Business relationships, personal, intimate, stuff of that nature. So when you actually can have great spiritual discernment skills and you're spiritually intelligent, that's part of like good judge of character. So you make the right choices. You know where to invest physically, emotionally, psychologically, with whom,
Mm-hmm.
where, and whatnot. Right. So, um, so part of that is also you use that because you know how it's gonna affect you, whether
Yes,
in a
definitely.
positive or negative
Mm-hmm.
way. So that's why I believe people that reach that level, they use it specifically for that. So when you said a lot of people don't have it, it's because they're not aware, one,
Exactly.
of it, they're not aware of themselves. So now those two things, they also block intuition. Because all of this has to be in direct correlation. It's a team. It's a
Yes.
team. It's a
Mm-hmm.
cohesive unit that is built with that three. So once you get to that level, you get to that level, and then that's intact. And then they all work together.
Mm-hmm.
So um like there's certain situations where you go in and you felt that gut feeling, you ignored it. It could be, we talk about the relationship aspect, right? It's very sensitive. A lot of people want to avoid that, but we're going to get into everything. Relationship,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to get into business, friendships, whatever, right? Even family members.
Mm-hmm.
So the relationship, the spiritual discernment that you are starting to practice is when you go through the courting process. Now, courting is like old school. So maybe there's a lot of youngins out there dating, I'll
Mm-hmm.
say, dating process. You're vetting them. You're studying them, you're getting to know them in every fashion, and it can come in forms of like going on actual dates, certain venues, activities, conversations over the phone, um you know and all of that nature. So when you're using that, you're now using it because you know that this goes back to the affecting you part, how it's going to affect you, positive or negative. So
Using
the
your powers.
positive, yes. So the spiritual discernment, the positive realm would be, okay, this person gives me dopamine in a healthy way, and the things that they do, like for example, like I'm making people confused right now, probably. For
No,
example, like let's say the
that person
woman,
makes me feel good.
yeah. So
Yeah.
let's say it's certain activities. That's a discernment I'm talking about. So he's holding your hand, maybe providing and protecting. You're seeing certain signs that is giving you that dopamine, that healthy dopamine, for you to be like, okay, this is their character. Like you're using your proper discernment skills, to raise your intuition to be able to pay attention to that, because this is where I'm gonna be present. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
mean. So if, let's say, you do go out there on the first date and we do the opposite. Oh, he didn't hold my hand. It's something that I like. He didn't walk on the side of the traffic. Oh, he didn't even bother to open the door. I'm not saying every woman likes this. I'm just giving an example.
Mm.
Um, it's the first date. He didn't offer to pay. Um, he's not really engaging in conversation. These things are like red flags now. So
Red flags.
that's the summary of the discernment skills that the woman is using. She's now putting, all of that is an indicator of red flag. She's using her discernment, so she's putting it under a category. And that red flag is not gonna make me feel good. Like I should run away.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Or let's say the man, for example, and I'm gonna put myself in this situation. Young men really don't know how to do this, but let's say I'm physically attracted to a woman, and I want to pursue her. I'm using my proper spiritual discernment skills by being in my divinity and now using all these things, my intuition, and seeing and not trusting her words until it matches her actions. Oh, she said that on the first day. Okay. Yeah. You're watching her actions. So now, for example, I'm getting into the scenario. This woman is, she seems nice. When she posts pictures, she's always smiling and all of that. But I also see she's always taking trips, at least once every month. She's
Damn, she has money.
she or somebody's paying for it. She's and she's hiding that because she got them in the back around the roster.
See?
So I'm always seeing her taking pics because I'm now looking at her social media or wherever I saw her, right? Maybe dating apps or whatever. Most women will, like, I don't do them, but I know most women will put the truth out on there. Like, I'm outgoing, I do this, like on the dating apps probably more than social media. Um because they're not looking at the social media as a dating app. They're looking at that as more like a fun thing. It doesn't matter. It's for whatever. It's a bonus. So I'm observing her social media, and every trip once a month, or the date be underneath the picture. Boom, boom, boom. So it's every month. She probably also articulated that to me when we were on a first date or whatever. I'm seeing that she's constantly doing extravagant stuff. I'm seeing that, she's constantly going to expensive places. I'm seeing that she wears expensive stuff. She's high maintenance. So I'm not saying it's a turn off, but I have preconceived notions, which is normal for human beings. Like everybody has preconceived notions until you crush them and prove them wrong. So I have preconceived notions. I might articulate that to her. You know what I'm saying? If we're if I'm pursuing her, we're dating or whatever it is. So I'm studying those things. So sometimes the kicker would be her body is online. That would be the kicker. So now my discernment that I'm using, I'm saying, okay, I could see the future with this. If I take her, because most men are not like me. So most men are going to get destroyed there because they don't approach like me. They don't live the lifestyle I live, and they're not like me. But the men that are like me can still pursue that, but it's going to be a struggle. I'm going to tell you why. With the guy that's not like me, the woman is going to control every aspect there. And if he cannot provide those things, he might even get hurt and played. Men like me who come in and be like, we're not gonna do that. Do you still want to be here? I'm not gonna do that. I got the bread for that, but there's no point in investing in that bag when we could put that in an IRA or life trust. So now maybe she cool with that. So I'm not gonna do it. Take your body offline. These are all the things that I'm putting down on the table if you also want to be with me, because it's not just a one-way street of me pursuing you. So I got standards here of not just me being present, of you being my lady. So now, based off what I'm going to provide, she will be willing to take those down. This is what I'm getting to. The difference, because you got to understand, the regular dude is not providing what I'm able to provide. Remember, women always chase pleasure. No matter what type of pleasure you look at that and what you think it is. Some people are actual pleasure incarnate. And what I mean with that is human form. Some things are actual intangible pleasure. So every woman, girls want to have fun. Women, girls, whatever. They want to have fun. And fun comes in different aspects, like going on trips every month. reading, doing a puzzle. Different women think of fun differently. So we summarize it of also pleasure, because fun in the brain is translated as pleasure too. So women will constantly chase pleasure, and she might look at a man like me, pleasure incarnate, not just how he looks, but what he can provide. Now, money's the last thing on the list. So based off that, pleasure, ringing in her head, she's going to be willing to comply to the rules. So now the proper discernment of what I'm saying is the body situation and all of these things. These guys like me are going to have to constantly work. So if you don't want to work, just avoid it, because you're using spiritual discernment. So just avoid it. The work is going to be, she going to submit, but she's not going to be consistent. This is what I'm getting to, you see? The regular guy who's not a dominant is not going to get the woman to submit. That's why I said she going to run shit there. He going to get played. He might get hurt and everything of that nature. He's also not approaching. The way he approach is put the woman in a frame of, oh, he's masculine, he's dominant. She don't have to know these words. Her subconscious, ancestry, she believe. So she move in the feminine way of following. And now he's implementing accountability. Boom, that's something the women weren't taught. So now they like, okay, molded back based off what he's providing. So now, based off what she's used to, this is where I talk about the inconsistency. So these men will get them to submit, but they're going to battle it because of what they used to and all this stuff. So that's why I'm saying to these guys that are like me, that are not willing to go through that, see that as you using your spiritual discernment skills and your intuition as red flags. Yeah, she gonna submit to the dick. Pause. Wow. She gonna submit to the dominance. She gonna submit to the erotic asphyxiation, the masculinity she wants to feel, the testosterone. She gonna submit for the bread, cause I could do that too. We gonna have fun shit, go-kart, shooting range, stuff of that nature. We could go on trips. She gonna submit to the lifestyle, every totality. Oh, and he's black too. Bonus. She gonna submit in the entirety, but it's not gonna remain consistent because of what she was doing already before you. Remember when a show prior last season when I talk about the brain and what it's used to versus what it's now coming into.
Like what it has to relearn?
Yeah,
like
what it has to relearn.
Mm-hmm.
So what you've been used to for so long, you go back to second nature. Learn behavior.
Yeah.
Right? You remember? So that's why I say that the woman's gonna go back to that based off what she's used to. This is how it's gonna come in those forms. Things might be good for the first month. She going through withdrawal.
Withdrawals of what? Of what she used to do?
Yeah.
Going to the clubs and stuff?
Yeah. Withdrawals. Okay. And now the moment that you restrict that completely, it's going to build resentment. The resentment is going to turn into nitpicking, brattiness, disobeying purposely, and stuff of that nature. That's why I say the submission won't be consistent. So that's an example of the guys. So the women have their example and the guys have their example. But most guys don't know how to use proper discernment when they're going out there in the dating world and vetting women and choosing women.
So what would you tell them?
I would tell them get into their divinity. Don't just get your money right. That's not part of building yourself. That's what I don't think a lot of these other podcast dudes that say they're talking for men talk about. So no, it's not about getting a six-pack. I have one. I got an 8-pack, but I've seen fat dudes with bad chicks.
That's true.
So it's not about that. Yeah, I wouldn't tell a man to be fat. That's unhealthy. But I'm just saying, like, to incorporate some type of exercise, because it's not about building your physique. It's about exercising, because mind, body, and soul, to get to this level of spirituality, you need to incorporate it.
I was going to say, you're also building your mind when you do that.
Yeah. Eating right. You know what I'm saying? All of this stuff is linked. So now I get more in depth of the scarier conversations of spiritual realm because there's a force field for you. That's why you can't use proper discernment because you don't exercise, you don't meditate, you don't probably believe in a God if you're religious, or
You're eating like crap.
or ancestry if you're spiritual. You're eating like crap, like you said. You're reading the wrong things. When you're on social media, you're not using it for positive things or reinforcement. You're watching World Star fights and shit. TMZ reality shows. You're concerned with who the next celebrity's dating. You're not really on there that's conducive to your health. You know what I'm saying? So all these things are playing a factor too. You're letting what is going on in the modern era affect your mentality and lifestyle. Maybe you grew up in a traditional household, but you're letting that be the stamp of what you should be, what you should conform to.
What, modern, you mean?
Yeah. So you're not an independent thinker because of this, because you don't have spiritual discernment skills. You're not in your divinity. So what I would tell them is build yourself in every way, mind, body, and soul. Spirit. If you're not going to get into a religion, believe in some type of higher power.
That doesn't mean even also though go to church if that's not what you're comfortable with. You could, like he said, pray. You could pray at home. You could, light an incense and do a little, if you don't know, if you're not. I was brought up in a Catholic church, just like you were brought up in a church. I'm sure you know all the prayers. But if some people don't come from that, even if you say whatever you're feeling in your heart, that's a prayer. And even with another way of having, spiritual discernment is even like amongst friends or people that or what I'm saying, like you're having a cranky day or whatever, and you go to work and you see someone and instantly your mood lifts. That's you have that energy with them. Like your energy feels that, and now you're more lively. You're like, thank God I have somebody here that I can get along with. You know what I
mean? In the workplace, choosing the type of career, that's part of spiritual discernment too. This career path that you're going on, you got to understand, especially women. I'm not going to say for the men because there's a double standard there. Especially for the women, be a doctor, be a nurse if you want, be that lawyer, be that boss bitch, that's fine. But you got to eventually think what's going to be more important, especially if you don't have a family before you're doing that and you want to get into that path. What's going to be more important? Are you going to care about love? Because you're not going to be able to have both. No. Nobody is the exception to the rule. No woman is the exception to the rule in that regard, where they're going to be able to tap their career and love or family. And maybe you could do it, but something's going to suffer. People, they think they could do it, but I'm here to tell them the truth. So you got to understand, why are you trying to be a doctor? Do you want to be financially independent so you could go out there and find your husband and get the ring and get on one knee? Why do you want to be a doctor? Why do you want to be a lawyer? So you could be rich? You could get away from your parents, get away from them forever, get rich young? And why do you do? Because I say this because I want the women to think, because they were never taught how to build. Money is a means to an end for a lot of women. I've asked a current woman who's in a management job, why'd you take this position? Like, are you saving your money? Like, what's your goal here? Do you want to be the actual general manager? You're just an assistant. You've been there for years. Like, what do you do? She takes trips all the time. She's doing this. She's in a relationship too. So I'm asking, like, do you want to have a family one day? Like, what do you want to do? Or you're just complacent here? Like, did you need this job because you moved out of your parents and now you need to pay rent? So based off what your lifestyle is, now you need that job. Like, would you still be a manager if your lifestyle wasn't that? I could tell you me, if I didn't have those bills to pay, I would still be a boss. But some people are just a boss because they need that. They need to pay that. So that's why I'm trying to make the women think, because a lot of men don't do it. So when you look at it, like, why do you want to be that? Is that your dream? I'm not telling them to not follow their dreams and be a lawyer or a doctor. But what a lot of women are not telling them when they say, bitch, get your bag, is what I'm telling them. Well, this is your future if you do that. So do it. But this is your future if you do it.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like that spiritual discernment, use that before you get into that. Because you could still make a lot of money, but you don't have to be the lawyer. You know what I'm saying? You're going to end up adopting a lot of masculine traits that it's going to be hard for you going out there into the dating market. Because you're going to bring that. Goes back full circle. Second nature. You can't fight it. You're going to bring it. And then you're going to lose out on the connection. Damn, that's the guy I really wanted. And you're not going to know why you didn't get him or why he left. You know, so it's very important that we tell the young women that are trying to get their bags, like, it's so much easier for women to get richer nowadays than a man or boys. So much easier to girls to get richer than boys. They can use their body, OnlyFans, this and that. More women are in the workplace, getting all these prominent jobs. Probably the dudes hiring them feel more comfortable around women. You know what I'm saying? So they're getting that not because of their expertise. They don't have any. Because they look a certain way. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, some women have expertise. So I'm not saying all of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to put it out there like that. You know what I'm saying? You do have special women who, you know, have that, where they could be beautiful and they could also have a mind. And they use that. And then they're also business oriented. Like, I didn't get that position by being on my knees. Like, I didn't get that position by, you know, doing, like, they're really business oriented. You know what I'm saying? But that's like a handful. But I'm not saying they're not out there. But, you know, it's so much easier. So these women got to be smarter with their bread. They got to be like, what are you planning on doing? You know, when you get all that, you're going to get all the money in the world for what? You know, that's what we got to ask them too. We got to make them think. You know, that's the things that I like to do. You know, that's using proper discernment. So, like, if a guy is, you know, looking to get into a certain endeavor or whatever, what is your end goal? Using that proper discernment is going to help you with determining your future. Like, you're playing chess now. You're not just going with the flow. You have a goal here. If you get into that industry or corporation, what is your goal? Do you just want to do that for the rest of your life? Be there complacent right there? Or do you want to climb the ladder? And when you get to the ladder, what's your goal there? I want to get to the ladder so I could do this, because if I get to that ladder, I'll have more power, more creative control, and I could put these other people on. When I'm at the bottom, I can't. So that's why I'm trying to help them. Like, what is your goal to get rich? It can't just be for you to just, I never want to work again. That's the dumbest thing. Ain't no rich person not working. Because money's going to go. You're gonna lose that. They give you $1.7 million. They give you $2 million. You're going to probably blow that in 6 months. The fucking dreams that you had before you had money, you're going to blow that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Most people don't know how to flip it or continue. Like, money you got to keep making money.
Yeah, well, I mean, if people never had money or don't come from money, they're not going to know how to handle it.
Yeah, so that's the proper discernment that I'm talking about. Like, why do you want to have that? Like, why are you working as the doctor? Why are you working as the lawyer? Do you want to be a judge one day? Or do you want to just be a lawyer for the rest of your life? Do you want to be the DA? Do you want to be a judge one day? If you are the RN, like, do you want to get to the hopper level?
A lot of different, they can be anesthesiologists and stuff like that. They could do different things, but it takes. I feel like when you say, and this is, correct me please if I'm wrong. Like, when you say that, it's almost like, it takes a long time for someone to become a doctor or a lawyer. That's a lot of schooling. You know what I mean? I don't think that, or rather, the doctors that I've met that are women, their goal, as when I talked with them, was never, oh, I'm gonna go on this trip. You know what I mean? It was always I've always wanted to help, others, especially children, because I used to work with a female um, uh, adolescent plastic surgeon, plastic and reconstructive. And I asked her, actually, this doctor specifically, she had two career options. She was a prima ballerina. She did the Nutcracker. She like busted her ass doing ballet because she wanted to. That's what she wanted to do. It was between that and being a doctor. And she was like, "Well, I can't help anybody really dancing, but I can help if I become a doctor." So like stuff like that. And even then, she was like, it was such a long road that were plenty of times, and she didn't wind up. She had her babies late. She was 40 when she had her first one.
I'm letting you finish, but
Yeah, no, definitely. And she had at the end of a year, whenever you had like the doctors, especially the job where I was at, they used to mentor new younger doctors, right? So take them under the wing. At the end of whatever their time was, a year, 2 years, whatever, they would do like a dinner and they would roast the doctors. And when they came at her, boy, they came at her hard. They would be like, "That's why you don't have children, because you don't know how to be a woman." Like, that's the stuff that they would say.
So I'm glad that you said the duration
Yeah.
of time. I'm glad that you said it, because it goes back to what I was saying. You can't have both. So
Right.
I'm going to give you an example. Using proper discernment, that's why I'm so glad, because I missed it. I missed adding the duration of time. So I'm glad you did that. Spiritual discernment would be looking at all the pros and cons. When I'm making a major decision, you know what I do, Sue? I get my notebook out. It might sound corny,
Pros
but
and cons?
I do pros and cons.
Me too.
So I would urge them as young boys and girls to do that. Don't just get into it because you're like, oh, this is what a doctor would make a year. I'm going to help people. Those are not great things. Well, okay, who am I to say that? Let me not be presumptuous. Those will be great subjective. Those are great aspirations for subjectively. Wow, you want to help people. But there's always a bad to whatever you want to get into. You just got to accept that. It's not always going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
There's always going to be a bad to what you want to get into. Oh, you want to get this big ass mansion? You want to live in this house with a whole bunch of white people? Yeah, it's going to be great. But then there could be some bad too. Because now you got some bunch of racist people around you don't even know. It could be some bad too. So yeah, you getting some good, but there's bad. There's bad to everything. You want to get that vehicle? There's good to it and there's bad. There's bad to everything. So you got to take everything. That's what I'm teaching them. Using proper discernment, they'll be able to do that. So I'm telling you what I do with the pros and the cons. That's the discernment. So I'm glad you added the duration of time. The woman loses. Same thing with the lawyer. Now, she's young and she wants to get into that. We all know that women are happiest in relationships. Even studies say this. So eventually, she's going to want to be in one. Maybe because she's doing the 10-year thing, she cannot invest because that is what she wants to invest in eventually long term. She don't know the guys that she's dating right now if they are potential candidates for long term. So she's having one night stands. She's doing what she could do, whatever it is, for 10 years. While she's focusing on that. So her all is in her studies. Her all is in doctor. She can't even give her all in a relationship. Even if she got her own place and stuff like that. She can't give her all in a relationship because that's what she wants to focus on the most. Remember that. And what the duration of time is. So because of that, right, I can't get in a relationship because it's gonna fuck up my focus on that, which is the woman's biological makeup. And I'm gonna explain. It's common for if the relationship is going bad, she can't focus at work. Do you believe that?
Yes.
For the man, if the relationship is going bad but work is going good, can he still focus at work?
Yes.
Yes. If he's stressed at work or the work's going bad, but the relationship is good, can he focus in the relationship?
If work is going bad?
I'm sorry. If work is going good, and no. If work is bad, yeah, I'm right. If work is bad
But the relationship is
and
good.
he's stressed there and but the relationship is good, can he focus well in the relationship?
No.
Exactly. And this is truth. And this goes back to our biological makeup of providers, independent, what we thrive for more. More men always had a purpose. So if I can't get on that, I'm not gonna be happy in nothing I'm doing. Forget about a relationship. I'm not gonna be able to give my all there. I'm not gonna be happy there. So women is different because of the makeup and biology of women of their goes back full circle what I was saying, they're happiest in relationship. That's why you agreed when I said, well, if the relationship is not good, but work is okay, she can't focus there. But let's reverse it. If the work was kind of fucked up, but the relationship is good, can she still give her all at the relationship? Yeah. A feminine woman. There's going to be women that disagree. Yeah, masculine. Now we break them. Now we differentiate. So yeah, now it's like, yeah, she'll still be like the man because she's kind of like a man. So yeah, if work is stressing her out, she can't give her all the relationship because she's like the man. But the feminine woman, if work is fucked up, stress or whatever, she's gonna be like, yo, I just can't wait to go home to my man. I'm so happy. But the masculine woman won't be thinking like that.
But I think that the feminine woman would be like, I can't wait to go home and tell him what's going on in my day.
That's what.
To get, to get his side, his perspective.
It could be the same thing. It could be the same thing, Sue.
Yeah.
I'm just breaking it down on the masculine and feminine energy.
But no, but that's what I'm saying. I think that the masculine woman, although I think she would still be open to doing that, right? It's just her receptiveness of what he would say maybe would be a little bit, wow.
No, I don't. I think it takes a special man to get her mind off that, where she could get back into her feminine.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way. And how many men you know? Where are they? How many men you know are doing that or can do it?
Very little.
So most likely, what she's doing 5 days a week, 6 days a week becomes her second nature. She's seeing you, and remember, this is the beginning stage. Y'all ain't living together. Mm-hmm. You're dating. This is the beginning stage, so you're not seeing each other on a daily basis. Remember, she's working a lot. So the days that you are seeing each other, maybe once a week, twice a week. And also, we got to put into a factor, because a lot of people don't do this, ratio. Like, do we live 10 minutes away? Mm-hmm. Do I live an hour away? Do I drive you? Do you drive? Do I drive you everywhere? Do you drive to me? Do we meet halfway? Mm-hmm. Do you live in another state? Do you live 2 hours away? So now we put that into a factor too. So now that's less. So now you don't probably see them once a week. Mm-hmm. So even in that regard, with that, it's like, it's a lot harder. You know what I'm saying? So now the feminine woman, if the relationship is fucked, she can't operate well in that job. I don't care what she's doing. And the man is like completely different. Because that's kind of like part of his makeup. If I ain't got that, I don't even know my identity. Who am I? What can I do? Like, that's part of, like, that helps me provide. And if I can't do that, I can't even operate. Well, I'm not happy. I turn into a scumbag now. I'm not a good man. So you never know. Different dudes think differently. We're not talking to them. We're not articulate. I'm just throwing darts in the dark, trying to hit the bullseye. So I think that, in that regard of using spiritual discernment skills, you could probably practice what I do with the notebook and the pen and paper, pros and cons, long term. Maybe I do this for short term, but this is my long term goal. Or maybe this is a long term goal, but when I get there, there's always a step up. So I think that it's not common for the woman to do that. If we're talking about like masculine women, maybe, but not the feminine woman, to be able to plan, this is where I will. So next, when I get the level 2, I want to get level 3 and 4 and 5. It's not common for the feminine woman to want to keep going, climbing the ladder. She's complacent. That's what has her femininity thrive, at that comfort level. Stress and pressure, that's why I don't want to be the general manager. I'm good being the second in command because that's going to be that, and then now I can't take trips no more. And now I can't do this, and that's going to hinder from that. And it's going to get me this, and it's going to get me all over the place of stress and whatever it is. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, in that moment, it's like using proper discernment. What are you doing what you're doing? Even in the relationship, you get with this guy, what is your goal for him? Because he might have a goal for you too, but you got to have a goal for that y'all both and yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, my lifestyle, I'm a master. I've elevated there. If I get a woman, she starts at the submissive level if she's never engaged in that lifestyle before. So I help her to get to slave status. And this is on Patreon of what I talk about, what these terms are. So I'm not going to talk about it on here. I'm just going to use these terms. But I explain the terms.
Good show, by the way.
So once I get her there, because I'm talking about I have a goal for her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving people an example. So if I'm here, I had a goal for myself. So now I got a goal for her, for us. So does she have the same goal or she just wants to stay sub? She wants to stay at the bottom. So you know what I'm saying? Like, this is also good discernment to use on the date, the negotiation process. So when you're asking, oh, so what's your 5-year plan? Oh, so mine is this and that. And if we're together, we're going to get there too. And, I have this goal for you too, and blah, 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 blah. What do you think about it? Do you have the same vision? So now you put things into perspective. Most people don't think about their life. They go with the flow, live day by day. Yo, I'm lucky to be alive today. I'm just, you people say that all the time. It's like, you don't take accountability. Most people do that. And, we got to come back to shaming people and holding them accountable, making them think about their choices and all that. Sometimes you got women that are like, when it's over, they talking mad shit online. Recently I saw it. I just happened to be on Instagram and I saw a woman post. It just came up right when I logged in.
Wait, and she's saying
shit like, oh, niggas won't, do nothing for you. They won't give you no reassurance. They won't, pay this. They won't do that. They're just going to give you stress. They will blah, blah, blah. They won't give you security, all this other shit. And that's why I'm not willing to put in none of my all and all this. And I commented, stop choosing niggas. And then she replies, bingo. I just reposted this, because I thought it was like fun, but I don't like people equally. So I don't just, discriminate and say fuck niggas. Like, she's still not taking accountability by how she replied. The way you reply bingo is okay. Just leave it at that. But stop choosing niggas. That's the operative word of you saying, well, niggas don't do this. So the reality is, right? I'm getting to the point. There's something deep inside that woman of why she chose him. Because remember, women choose. I believe that. I've been saying this since season 1, episode 1, part 1. Should women submit to their husbands? Wives to their husbands, women to their boyfriends. Season 1, episode 1, part 1. I've been saying this. Women choose. I walk up to you, I'm pursuing, but you're choosing. You're choosing. You know what I'm saying? So you have something deep inside you, maybe dark, that attracted you to that. Toxicity. You will never say that publicly, though. You leave that out. So when you're like, oh, niggas did this, niggas don't do this. But yo, the women intuition is higher than the men's. So you saw something in the beginning, but remember, it goes back full circle of the first segment of this episode. Women chase pleasure. Something about him triggered arousal in your psyche that made the red flag just fly over your head, or you ignored it. So now that it's over, now it's like retaliation type. I'm emotional. It's just like, I want a man to take charge. I want him to control shit. I want him to be dominant. I want him to be aggressive and assertive. There's a difference. But I want him to play both. I want him to be cool-headed and all this. Superman, to summarize. But then when it's over, it's like, yeah, what happened to your last relationship? For a new date. Oh yeah, he was controlling, cheated a lot, very very controlling guy, very abusive. How long were you there for? I was there for 4 years. If the man is using spiritual discernment skills, he's gonna be like, that's
Weird.
there's some holes in your story, like something you're not telling me.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't articulate that to her or ask her, but he thinks it. Damn, you stayed there for 4 years. When did the abuse and cheating start? When did the controllingness start? In the beginning or late? See, I'm asking questions that a lot of dudes probably won't. But now the woman's gonna start to think, right? She might even now start to look internally. Damn, I'm a piece of shit. I never looked at it that way.
She ain't looking at herself like that because she don't got proper discernment, spiritual discernment.
Yeah, but when you make the woman think, you make her hold herself accountable. That's the point I'm getting to. Most guys don't ask these questions. They're just thinking about the box, they're thinking about pussy. They're yesing everything, goofy niggas, laughing at everything, smiling at everything. Even though in their mind they're like, this fucking bitch. Smiling at everything because they want to get along to get along.
Mm-hmm.
They're not being real. But the dude that's using proper discernment is in his dominant frame. He's in his masculine. And now he's going to make the woman think. Making her think is going to make her hold herself accountable. Damn, I never looked at that shit. I'm a piece of shit.
If she's open to it, if she's one of them people that don't wanna see what her part is, she ain't never gonna see it.
It's impossible, Sue. You ask the right questions, you get the right answers.
Yes,
I swear
you
to
get
God.
the right answers. I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm saying that even if he's top tier spiritual discernment in his masculinity, in his divinity, if she isn't anywhere near it, she's gonna hear. She's gonna hear what he's saying, or listen, whichever. You know what I'm trying to say.
He's gonna
but
hear.
She's not gonna.
He's gonna hear. She's not gonna listen.
She's not gonna. Right. She's gonna be like, what does he know? He don't know shit. If she's not there, no matter how.
It also depends. No, Sue. It also depends on, like, let's say she don't even see my social media. She don't know me from a can of paint. She doesn't know I'm an author. She don't know I'm a life coach. She don't know I'm a dominant in the BDSM like that. She doesn't know shit about me. We meet at a bar. Yeah, she lumps me with everybody else. Oh, look at this, a fucking sucker. In her mind, come talk to me. Smiling, hi.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? She's already, like, have preconceived notions, right? Until she knows who I am. So, yes, if I'm approaching that way at the bar in a situation, social event or whatever, in her mind, maybe she's saying that. But the moment she sees, oh, this is who he is, yo, there could be some level of respect, even if she is toxic. There could be some level of respect, and that is going to lead to maybe her listening or at least trying it out.
Yep.
Because I don't listen to the bozos. They're bozos. Look what they do. But wait a minute. This guy's not a bozo. So, maybe I should consider it. At least I'll probably consider. I didn't say I was going to do it. I'll consider it. The other guys I wouldn't even consider. So I think it's different. So I think it's like once the woman knows, because it's the woman's makeup to want to care about what you do and who you are, not the man. Most dudes are just visual creatures. Yo, if you look a certain way, that's it. You tell me down the line you had felonies. We 2 months in. You tell me you had felonies and shit. You tell me you got 3 baby daddies, 4 kids. You tell me you did all this. You still robbing and scamming and selling drugs and whatever it is. It's like, you know what I'm saying? But you don't do that in the beginning.
Yeah, because
you don't find them in the beginning. But there's still dudes that will still rock with those chicks because they look a certain way. That's my point I'm trying to make.
Mm-hmm.
Males don't use discernment. You got to be able to get into your divinity. Women and men to be able to use it. Intuition. And then you decide, this ain't for me. I'm going to pass up on this pussy. Some dudes just can't pass up on it. They got to get every pussy.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get everything. They got to get them all.
And then they
like
do.
Pokemon.
Then they do get everything, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep, and that's another thing of not using proper discernment.
Yep.
So the chick online, OnlyFans, got her body done BBL. Yeah, she look good. But internally, is she good? That's proper discernment. Do you know? Would she tell you?
If you have proper discernment, you could figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a woman that's comfortable posting her body online, are you gonna, like, using discernment, being presumptuous, could you think she has a lot of bodies? Could you think she'll be down to do a one night stand? Could you think she's easy? Because she's doing something that's so easy, that's privy to somebody special, and feminine women don't feel comfortable taking their clothes off for people to see.
No, but
So
we
now
know what trauma do.
That's what I'm saying. So now you're looking at it like that leads to trauma too. Bodies lead to trauma.
Yeah.
All the stuff they were doing, scamming, whatever, leads to trauma. All of that's leading to trauma. So when you as the man is just viewing the person's actions, you're seeing what they're probably living behind closed doors. You don't even need to see it. That's your discernment. And yes, it is presumptuous to be, but there are like perilous like moments that will occur if you engage in that. Because even if you're lucky and she isn't doing all those things, her behavior, because you got to understand, why is it so comfortable to do it? That's trauma. That is 100% trauma of she's doing that publicly. So her behavior, she's going to fight you on a lot of things. She's not going to be submissive 100% there. She's going to be like just looking at all these other things. Like, oh, I saw a clip. It was like a video of this younger girl. It was 3 people, 2 guys and a girl. The man had the microphone interviewing both of them. He interviewed the guy. He said, how old are you? He said he's 21. He's like, what do you do? He's like, oh, I just got my CDL license. And he says to the girl, like, oh, would you date him? And she's like, what the fuck is a CDL? And he's like, well, ladies, that's truck drivers. You have to have a license to do this. So he said, in layman's term, I'm a truck driver. What the fuck would I be doing with a truck driver? So she's not educated. So she went on there uneducated and sound like a dummy.
Big dummy.
But if you think about it, truck drivers make about $1,800 to
they make good
24
money.
a week. This could be $68,000 to $102,000 a year. So she's like, nah, you gotta be a millionaire to fuck with me. I bring all this to the table and stuff. And I'm like, she is listening to some type of music, or she's influenced today by these modern like liberals who are public figures who are leaders for these young girls. What is she talking about? She sounds really dumb.
Yeah.
And it's not her fault. It's not her fault. She's just regurgitating.
Yeah.
She's regurgitating. You know, she don't even understand what she's saying. She thinks she's worth that. And she's probably in the same age bracket.
And probably from the same economic background too.
Yep. Yeah. Using this like discernment, you'll be able to have like, just to break it down in layman's terms, street smart. And street smart is correlated with common sense. So if you're book smart, that's great, but it's always imperative to be street smart too. Some people are book smart but not street smart, and some people are street smart but not book smart. If they were book smart, oh my God, they would be crazy powerful because they were already street smart. They're already street smart prior to book smart. You know, so I think that you know, if they're able to use common sense and just remember, you know, their true identity by knowing themselves, you know, and seeing the benefit for it, because you got to see the benefit for it. You know, you have to, you know, put that into perspective as well. You know, when you're like navigating out to the dating market, the you know, corporate industry, with friends, family, you know, and realize what it is. It's like, you know, use proper discernment. Like, is it conducive to be around that guy or girl because you known them for 20 years? Is that because you're loyal? You feel like, oh, well, I got to do that. Like, what are they bringing? All they're doing is taking. It's toxic there. Like, you're not using proper discernment. Maybe you need new friends. Exactly. Like, sever that. You know, you're not going in the same path. You're not thinking in the same realm. It's gonna bring you back down to where you didn't want to be. Relationship too. Most of the time we are like picking these people because we have something dark inside of us that we feel like, oh, they could fulfill fun we're chasing. Guys chasing fun, women chasing pleasure.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Which could be in direct correlation with one another. So, you know, I think that you could get all those things too with healthy people. You could get
A
the
hundred
fun
percent.
and you could get the pleasure with the healthy people. It's subjective now. The pleasure and the fun are in different avenues. They're different perspectives now. They're like, maybe it's not trips every month.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For that specific couple.
Well, I also think it's where they are mentally in their own life. If they're still in that turmoil, if their life is still filled with, you know, toxicity and all that, they're not. Their fun is, I want to escape this life. How am I going to do that? Let's go to the club and drink and smoke and do lines and all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But once they're in a better place or whatever, then they'll see that the fun is not, it's not always like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or something's gonna happen where my fun was drinking too until I got that Dewey. And I was like, that's not fun anymore. And I don't drink anymore.
Yeah, sometimes you have to hit a wall.
Yeah. Sometimes the ancestors are like, what are you doing, dummy? Here we go.
Yeah, sometimes
Let this serve you as a lesson. And you can either learn your lesson the first time or be a repeat offender. I needed that one time. I was like, nope, I'm good. And let me tell you, the liquor does not taste the same anymore. They taught me.
Final thoughts.
Like I said, spiritual. I agree with you. I may have spoken. Everybody I feel has. They just don't tap into it, like you said. It's lost by everything that we've mentioned on the show. The food that you eat. What are you doing?
Yo, keep going.
I can't now. You're getting naked.
No, I'm not.
Oh dang! I lost my chain of thought.
Yo, it's bugging.
Sorry.
Yo.
Spiritual discernment, get you some because it's gonna save your life.
Yeah. So, men and women, because when you get into your divine, or your divinity, better say, you are a man or woman, right? You're just born a female or a male, right? It's how you build yourself. You are a man or a woman, and that is divine, right? So I'm technical with it. Um, Use proper discernment with everything you do. Everybody you want around you. The things you want to engage in. Your future is very important. This is what they don't teach you in school,
Mhm.
and with other places and whatnot. Um, be the doctor if you want, but understand that you can't have it both ways. So maybe the female that wants to be the doctor, your only thing is one night stands. That's the only thing you could do. You can't stay with a man too long. After we both nut, bye. I'll see you next time. You can't even be around a man too long because you're doing that for so long. You can't be around a man too long. So you're okay with him not spending the night. You're that probably will work for you. But understand, see, I always do this. I'm good with this, that I do this because I like to help, especially the mind. What a lot of people don't tell you is the consequences. Do that. If that's your prerogative, do it. Who am I to tell you not to do it? There's consequences down the line. As you keep doing that, there's more trauma. It's going to be harder for you to be in a relationship, sustain one. So that's that. I'm telling you with that. Hard for you to pair bond. Look all these things up. When you have sex with a man, oxytocin dripping more with you than the man, which is creating pair bond chemicals. That same chemical after you have a child. So do research on that. So you could do it, but understand you're gonna take a loss by doing that. And then you're gonna realize when you are 45 and whatever it is, you're gonna be crying. You know what I'm saying? Because you wasn't thinking when you was 30, 35, or when you was 30. You know what I'm saying? Or when you was 25 and now you're 35. You know what I'm saying? When you're going to be looking like, damn, I made a lot of these fucked up choices back then when I was 25. I should have had better discernment skills. Now you know what discernment means. And, with guys, pay attention. Who you choose as your woman will affect your legacy. Children too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, maybe right now the OnlyFans is cool and whatever, and you want to simp and marry the porn star, but it's gonna affect your kids. Your kids could grow up to be gay, boys gay, soft, pedophiles, rapists, all that shit. So oftentimes it's not really what the parent does, it's who they raise that can affect society. So maybe parents didn't, ever get their dreams because I had the kids. But be proud of that, because now they can live vicariously through you, through that. I'm not saying they gotta do what your dreams was, or they gotta engage in your dreams. But how you raise them, giving them the discipline and the skills, to get into that endeavor, to teach them the things that you learned late, so they could be in a better position to survive. You know what I'm saying? So that is paramount. A parent is paramount. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be a scientist in those regards. Like, you can, the littlest things you to do is always steps to bigger goals, in life. So I think that the men, the boys, when they turn to men, they should be able to use all this stuff to navigate into all these type of endeavors, and think, be calculating. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work for you, don't do it. She's not gonna be healthy for you. Yes, I could bag her, easy. Could bag the ones you bag too. I could throw the money too. But is it gonna be good long term? Because the woman's spirit is powerful of what she could do. You know what I'm saying? I knew female witches, and male warlocks. Those things are real. It's powerful. And if you don't have a strong spirit, they could fuck you up. She bitch could be 5'2", and you could be 5'11", 5'10", 6 foot. She could fuck you up emotionally. She could fuck you up spiritually, and you won't even know what the fuck is going on until it's too late. Protect your spirit. So some women are bad for your spirit. If you already had a man of peace, why would you get with a woman that's chaotic, that's all into this extravagant shit? She always wanna be she's crazy intense and stuff. It's common for the man to be intense, not a woman. What's going on with her? That's trauma. Do what you want to do, but there's a lot of bad consequences for that. So be ready for that too. Do your pros and cons. You want to get with the baddest chick in the world? That's great. It's not common. You are lucky if you find it. I found maybe 1 or 2 in my life when I was younger. You'll be lucky if you find it. But most bad chicks who have everything perfect with them, face, body, and stuff, they got a lot of bad habits. They're rewarded based off their looks. So they're used to that. So they never hold accountability. For you to come in and be like, accountability is going to be on the table for the both of us, for us to follow. There's gender roles here. What? Nigga, you crazy? Who does that? Because they're not used to it. So it's very rare that they get. But if you're fortunate to get it, look in depth. Stay there for a while. Don't trust that. See if that's going to be conducive long term, and then your lineage, because the woman will affect it in a positive or negative way. So if you want to control your legacy, you better go in there and be dominant and stay shit. You know what I'm saying? And be able to control that, because if not, it's going to turn left. And she don't got to be the baddest looking chick in the world. It's women in general. They are taught this stuff from men. The men lead, women follow. Men always gotta move how they move, with dominance and conviction. It don't matter who's what, liberals nowadays, feminists, it doesn't matter. You move and you lead the line, and they will either follow you or run away. And if they run away, they're not for you anyways. So you as a man don't have to conform. It's not in your nature to. It's not godly. It's in the woman's nature to conform. And when you see these women that are now on podcasts and stuff like that, in their divine, they tell that story. They say, yeah, I used to be a bitch, but I found out that I had to change my behavior to have a successful relationship with my man. They always all say the same shit.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, oh yeah, well, he had to change his behavior with it. How did that end out? Yeah, I ended up cheating on him. How did that end out? Yeah, we broke up anyways. Who left who? I did. The woman. So it clearly doesn't work. It's out of balance because it's not leading. A leader don't conform.
Mm.
They may listen to certain things. I'll reiterate. They may hear certain advice and whatnot, but they make the final decision. Oh, you my conciliary, you my advisor. I hear you. I hear your opinion. But I like that last week and we went with that. But that's not a good decision. This is what we do. That's what leaders do. The moment the man starts to conform to the woman's ways, he's on a path to disaster because you're now went from a leader downgrading to a follower to follow a follower. And this is our nature of leader and follower. So now you're downgrading, you're fighting your nature to downgrade yourself into a follower to follow a follower. And now you both are going to be on not just the path to disaster, you might get driven off a cliff. Both of y'all, metaphorically, gonna die. Die mentally, die spiritually, die physically. So men got to get into their divine and then lead. Because if women respect them, they will follow. And then in direct correlation, submitting. That's what it is. Women got to go back to respecting men, but men got to give women something to respect. Can't be out here looking like a bozo and doing shit. Have some fucking principles and dignity. Gotta have some dignity. Don't fold. Because women will respect that. Even if they don't like, he's an asshole, but he don't fold. He never changed.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they're going to follow on board, which get back full circle into their nature, following. Yeah, I fuck with this dude because he hasn't changed for years. But when I first, I kind of was iffy. You know, I thought he was like every guy. But then he showed me he never changed. And he always was dominant in his frame. So now I got no points to join. Can't beat him, join him. I tried to beat him because I was beating all dudes, metaphorically. I was beating them at chess, metaphorically, playing human chess. This guy I can't because he's the king on the chessboard. So now I got no choice but to be the queen. I'm powerful here, can move in ways the king can't, but he's the most prominent. I know that if he's captured, the game is over, or it's very hard for me to win. And that's how it is. But with these other dudes, I was the king. You know what I'm saying? And I had them working for me. They was the queen. They was moving in ways or whatever. I had them working for me. I had them serving me. I had them submitting. How did that turn out? You still lost the game. You still lost the game. Because now you lost all your pieces and then the king got captured.
By another queen.
You know what I'm saying? So, we gotta educate ourselves. That's the biggest thing when it comes down to the community. It's not about your circumstances. Okay, guys, you single mom. What are you doing now? You still got a chance. Still got a chance to elevate. What are you doing now? Education. And then apply that. Apply that knowledge. Now you become powerful. You can't just be like, okay, I know this or whatever it is. It's out there. You gotta apply it. It becomes powerful. Women, what are you doing? Maybe it's unfortunate. You thought marriage was coming with that guy. You thought it was a total package. You had the baby. You thought it was going to be a total package. He left. There's some snake shit. So now you're a single mom. What are you doing to rectify that now? It's going to be a lot harder for you to navigate into the dating market because you do have a kid or two. But what are you doing now? To try to even out the playing field, level it out. So different scenarios, the workplace, family members, friends, what are you doing there? They keep taking and they never give. They just use you. They call you when they need something. They never call you to see how you doing and whatnot. Come on, use your proper discernment. Know who to let go. Know who to keep. That's a valuable asset, knowing who to trust. You know what I'm saying? And then building that respect. So we got to go back to the fundamentals. I mean, I try to see everybody's perspective, but there's fundamental differences of the way I think and other people think. But I try to like think outside of me. You know what I'm saying? Yo, this season is gonna be some sazon.
Juicy.
Yeah, adobo. It's gonna be picante.
Oh shit.
It's gonna be yeah. It's gonna be lit. So as the new generation say. But I talk like I'm mad old. I'm in my late 30s.
I don't like. You know which one I don't like? Bussin'. I hate that.
I don't like that. I don't like Riz.
Oh, I hate
I
that one
don't
too.
like what I try not to listen to all the
No,
new
me
shit.
neither.
I just stay with the old shit. Word is bond.
Yeah.
Word is bond. Like what do they say that's synonymous with word is bond now? I don't know.
Because they don't say it. That's why. All they do is that's cap. That's cap.
Oh, there you go. That's cap. I don't use that. What's cap?
That's
Like lying?
Like you fronting. Like you fronting.
Yeah, I'll say you fronting. I'll say straight up, yeah, you lying, girl. What's cap? You go on a first date? Yo, girl, that's cap. No, girl, you lying. You lying, right? No, I'm old school. I'm gonna stay that
awful.
way.
These words are awful.
But yeah, so we're back. We just made y'all Thursdays a little bit more lively. So once again, you were tuned into one of the most raw, uncut, unapologetic, real, no holds barred, heralded but soon to be heralded, unapologetically dominant, conversation stimulating. You better have your mental seatbelts on, cause it's gonna be a bumpy ride, big emotional roller coaster. Only on the Discipline Therapy Podcast. Peace.